We are Rogue Media Sports.
And it's a game time, everybody! I thought today was the day to pull out the Mad Dog thing because I am an absolute zombie. So
Good stuff.
Thank you, Mike. Mike Hamilton's here.
I'm here.
You're along for the Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network on this Friday inside the Colt Brennan Memorial Studio.
You got to tell me about that.
What?
Like, I don't really understand that reference.
You weren't here
Maybe
for
I'm
Guys
just
Naming
stupid,
Dudes. You weren't
but
here
yeah.
for you're not a follower of the show, probably.
Yeah, no,
That's
no.
a big part of it.
Been working, but sure.
Colt Brennan, dude. No, I don't think so. Colt Brennan, he was a great quarterback at the University of Hawaii. Set all kinds of passing records and was the baddest dude on the field. The long sleeves, the tinted visor for a quarterback, bleached his hair and had the brown spots left to be the Hawaiian Islands.
Sure.
Sick, man. Played a year of high school football in Massachusetts, too.
Did he die?
He did die.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why it's Memorial. Well, I was just asking. I mean, I don't.
He was like my all-time favorite pick for Guys Naming Dudes.
Okay.
And probably my favorite college football player ever.
Uh-huh.
Even though he didn't play for a team I rooted for or went to a school I went to.
So the Guys Naming Dudes is you would just come up with stats for like a guy, and then you would have to figure out who it is.
Well, yeah, more or less. So Guys Naming Dudes was something we used to do every Friday. That was the three of us, as Braden, myself, and Zach.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And we would pick a guy.
Then I came in and spoiled it. Sure.
Yeah, I remember that. Where like it was one of those like the streets remember.
Yeah.
Like he's not in the Hall of Fame or anything, and you might not remember him now, young buck, but this guy was legit for a couple of years. Be like Dwayne McClain on Pete's poster. So a lot of baseball players be like, oh, Grady Sizemore. He was supposed to be one of the great players of his generation, five-tool guy. It kept getting hurt, but had a couple of really good seasons in there. And Colt Brennan was my pick. But yes, we started eventually doing it to where we would kind of list off the bio a little bit.
Right. Sure.
Try and figure out who this player was.
Who was best at it?
At what? Guessing? Or
Yeah, figuring it out.
Me.
You?
Yeah,
okay. Can we do a quick one?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a quote. You tell me who said this.
All right.
Okay.
Sure.
My love.
We could just do trivia third segment.
Maybe. My love for you has always been as easy as the day, as easy as the sunrise.
Who
said that?
Wow.
I mean, you may think Keats.
Yeah.
Maybe you think like, one of the great poets of our
even
Shakespeare,
Hemingway or something.
Sure, Hemingway.
Talking about a lovely lady or man.
Yeah, whatever.
But you know what? I'm gonna look past all that, and I think you would think great orator, great poet, great writer, and I'm thinking great.
You got a
sitcom
50-50 chance on this one.
Because
I haven't told you who actually said that. We talked about it a little bit before, but you got to guess of the two, which one said that?
It's got to be Kelsey Grammer over Ted
Yeah.
Danson.
Yeah.
Kelsey Grammer is that much of a dude.
Yes. Well, Kelsey Grammer.
He's also very funny and a great actor, but
he
absolutely
thinks of himself as a great orator.
Fraser Crane would also say that.
Yes. Fraser Crane would say that about a bottle of wine.
So that was about Ted Danson and Kelsey Grammer and some undisclosed argument they had on the set of Cheers.
Yeah.
Which was at least 30 years ago.
That's right.
I believe Cheers ended in 1992.
They made up because
Ted,
something like that. And Ted said, 93, it says here. Yeah.
And one of them was like, you know what? I'm doing Kelsey Grammer. It has been 3 years since Kirstie Alley died. It's time to bury the hatchet with my pal Ted.
Sure.
Is that a good Kelsey Grammer?
Yeah, here's
the right attitude anyway.
Here's my Ted Danson. Kelsey, that's great. Thanks a lot.
It's not like Ted Danson's pretty regular. Pretty normal.
He's pretty regular, yeah.
He's still married to Mary Steenburgen? Boy.
Yeah.
I think she might still have it.
Grammer thanked Danson for the apology and said he too wishes they had spent some more time together. It's very sweet, I mean, it's very nice. Good for them. I'm glad that they made up.
I just had someone who organized a phone call with me today and now goes, hey, I'll be in the area. Let me know where you want to meet. I'm like, I don't. I don't do a phone call.
That's the phone call. The whole idea behind a phone call is you're on one end and they're in another place.
Yeah, because like I need to go like do stuff. I need to go home and.
Yeah. Well, you still have a game to do tonight.
Yeah, I got to do high school football tonight, which I know you guys really care about. I got to do high school football.
They do. They love the high school football in Central Texas. They love it.
Team is rough. I really got to get to the end of the season, which is maybe 2 more weeks after this, but also possibly 3 more weeks after this.
I will say this about you, Cam. You come in bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on a Monday, but by Friday, I get a little worried about you.
Dude, I know this is exactly what the viewers want to hear as well, but like it's been very hectic all football season for really all of us here. Well, those of us who are here, you know. But I mean, like it's
we
a
love
lot
you,
for
Zach.
all of us. Well, no.
Yeah.
I did not mean Zach.
It's like Zach got a deathly illness, but that bastard never shows up.
Not Zach. We've just had a couple people like coming in and out of the fold.
Absolutely.
Since the season has started.
Well,
Zach was working his ass off.
Braden.
Yes, and it's through different reasons. It's not even a call out, but of like those of us who have stuck through this whole thing. It's been a ton of work, but I think
when it comes down to it, it's just you and me. We're the only ones who stuck to
it. But my point is like I have hit like true burnout at this point.
Yeah. I get
the
that.
back half of this week. I actually haven't had a lot going on at night, other than kind of my typical like lockdown Baylor. It takes an hour. Like most days, I'm not done working until 8:00.
Yeah,
like good night.
I get that.
And still, I'm just like I'm exhausted, man.
So a day
I don't get any less tired.
Yeah, a day for you.
And I still get a whole day of work tomorrow on a Saturday, which I know what I signed up for. But
a day for you is you come here, you do this live show.
Yeah.
You do about an hour and a half prep before the show, right? And it's not that you haven't prepped other things. I'm just saying for this specific show, you catch up hour and a half.
Yep.
Then we do this show for an hour, which an hour doesn't seem like a long time to a lot of people. But having sat back here for a couple of weeks now, it's a long fucking time.
Especially when you're just here with Mike. No, but that is actually part of it that like I'm doing a Boston sports show and you guys don't follow Boston sports. You know, that's not a knock, but like that's part of
I get it.
You know, more to think about.
I will say that I have learned a lot from you about Boston sports, honestly, and I really enjoy it. It's been fun.
So there's that. Then afterwards, it's clipping the stuff, getting it out. Then
you know where Cheers was?
Doing another show.
Where was Cheers?
Boston.
There we go. Yeah. See, we brought it all the way around. Yeah. So you finish this, and then you do your clips and you do your shorts and all that stuff.
Which is like a sprint.
Yeah. And then you get out of here by 2:00 at the latest, if possible, right? And then you got to head over and you go do your radio show. Then you do your stuff on Baylor at night. Then on the weekends.
And catch up on all the other things I didn't get to that day.
Yeah.
And then, on the weekends.
Oh, you mean like adult things where, like, say you had to get gas or
go to the grocery store.
You need to go buy food for your body.
Cook dinner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also just like, I didn't get that short done earlier. Let's
do
it now. Then, high school football on Fridays, which takes up, a little bit of every day.
Yeah,
to prep for. And then
you do the
Saturdays,
coaches' calls also. You do the coaches' shows during the week.
Yeah. And then Saturdays, home games, pregame show, 4 hours before the game. So like tomorrow, it's a 2:30 game.
Yeah.
So it's basically just like a regular work day.
Oh, it is a 2:30
game. 9:30, getting it set up. Like hours wise, it's about regular. And then
you get there at 9 for a 2:30 game.
Yeah, because our show's at 10:30.
Oh, baby.
So 9:30 roughly to get set up. And then the game, I'll be done with everything at the stadium by 6:30 or 7, then go back, do a post-game show live, and then done. So
wait, where are you doing the post-game show live?
From home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's good.
So all that to say, it's been a lot.
It's a sprint.
We got a couple more weeks, and that's why I'm like looking at the end of high school football is like one less thing.
Yeah. No,
one less thing.
That makes total sense.
Shortly thereafter, it'll be college football. One less thing.
That makes total sense. It is a sprint. It's a sprint for you each week. Yeah, I get it. And by Friday.
And you're just running
It
everything
can be a lot
here. So
I don't know about that, but it can be a lot. It can be a lot.
So we've hit burnout.
I felt I hit burnout yesterday when I was screaming something about being the only one here and the boss walks in.
Nice.
So that was
nice.
That was a little.
Did you lie?
I didn't. No.
Didn't lie.
I try not to.
And the fact that I got to watch the Patriots every week.
But once again,
that's a chore.
Yes. But
Plus,
once again,
that,
you and I both signed up for this, and we're doing it. That's all that matters.
Yeah, like you know how much I love to complain. You know how much I love to complain. I could just be complaining here every day, but I also know
this is not a complaining session.
I knew that this was what it was going to be, and that I was probably going to hit burnout at some point.
Yeah.
And we're there. And honestly, it could have happened 3 weeks ago, which would have been even worse, like a disaster.
Yeah.
But like there is kind of an end to this, and then all I got to do after that is pack up all my earthly belongings and drive in a car I don't own to Chicago.
Yeah. That's great.
That's great. Directly after that. Whoop, whoop.
We should, there's one day that we should take where, and maybe it's after Zach's back and you're settled or whatever. We should just tell stories about like the most burnout we've ever gotten, because I got a bunch.
Yeah.
Because about every 4 to 5 years, I reach that point and I skip and I do something else.
I know that feeling, man.
Yeah. It's not a great feeling.
And you need a little bit of time off, but as an adult,
it's tough to do.
Then you're just unemployed.
Yep. You know who should be unemployed are some of the Patriots.
Yes. It's a good call. That's a good call, Mike. And I got to sit through it again this weekend. They're facing the Jets, which obviously should be one that you look at 1-6, 2-5. Oh boy, here's a chance to win a game. I don't love the Patriots' chances to win this game just because I don't love this Patriots team. But the Jets are not in a good place right now at 2-5 with a Hall of Fame quarterback. They are really not in a good spot. They just went out and got an all-pro receiver. And I think I said it on the show last week. Like, that was not their biggest issue. And it is an issue, but it was not their biggest issue. So people were talking about the Devontae Adams deal and what this does to the Jets and the AFC. And boy, they won this trade deadline that's here in a week or two. And I'm like, I don't know if they did. I don't know that was, I mean, they got better in some respects, sure. Like adding Devontae Adams will get you better, but it didn't fill the holes necessarily. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a good analogy for this. It's like
for filling holes.
It's like you needed a new shower curtain, but also needed Drano.
And
it's like, well, you got the new shower curtain.
Yeah.
But the drain's still clogged.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks better. Or the water's warmer. You fix that issue.
Yeah.
Because it is a good tangible thing. It makes your shower better.
But there's no floor.
But you're standing in it.
That's right. Sure, Sure.
And that's where the Jets are at right now. And I said before the season, the thing that would derail the Jets, other than injuries, would be if this Aaron Rodgers thing just completely fits the narrative of the Brett Favre season. And honestly, you look at the numbers, and it's looking like the Brett Favre season of 2008 in a lot of respects. Now, obviously, Rodgers is only halfway through the season, but if you're doing kind of the averages here, the completion percentage is actually better for Brett Favre. Their passing yards are about on pace to be the same. Passing yards per attempt are almost exactly the same. The yards per game is just a little bit in Rodgers' favor, but pretty dang close at 217 to 237. The passing touchdowns are going to be about the same. Interceptions probably won't be. Brett Favre in 2008, man, peak Brett Favre in a lot of ways. 22 touchdowns, 22 picks. I don't think Rodgers is going to throw 22 picks, but he has thrown 7 in 7 games.
We can hope.
Yeah, well, we can't hope. You're exactly right. Which is, worse than his standard over his career, even at age 40. The rating is almost exactly the same. Their rush yards are roughly the same, but I'm not taking that really into account. But I'm
going to go ahead and say it's Aaron Rodgers' fault also, the rushing yards.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers.
Not a big fan.
So he has that huge game against the Patriots. What was that? Week 3, Thursday Night Football. He throws for 280 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And my God, like Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit, they just couldn't help themselves. They were just falling all over themselves, talking about how great Aaron Rodgers is and how he's so back. And here come the Jets. And I'm like, but the Patriots really stink. I felt like I was the only one saying that. I was like, the Patriots suck. Okay. And I don't know. Brady used to throw for 300 automatically, even at age 40. And as great as this game was, he threw for 280. couple of touchdowns. They really didn't do much in the second half of that game. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know about this.
Even in Tampa, he threw for 300.
Yes, like every game.
It wasn't like it went down. And that's a very good analogy. With a
similar arsenal of receivers.
It's a very good analogy between him leaving the Patriots and going to Tampa and just rejuvenating the entire team.
Yeah, let's look at Brady's age 40 season, which actually was with the Patriots. So let's look at his first season with Tampa.
Aaron Rodgers, by the way, Brady came out today and said he made friends with a big mushroom. So I was pretty happy for him.
Whew, okay. That's I don't know. That's fantastic for Aaron.
Stupid.
I can believe it. And now is when the internet's going to be very slow, and I'm trying to get these numbers for Brady.
It is. Yeah.
All right, so Brady threw for 4,600 yards and at 290 a game. That's only a little bit more than what you just said about Aaron Rodgers, 280 against the Patriots. That was Aaron Rodgers' best game this season.
Yeah.
Brady averaged 290 a game, threw 40 touchdowns to 12 picks. 40 to 12.
That's a lot.
Rodgers is on pace to throw about 22 touchdowns to 14 picks, 15 picks.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's not the same. And I know, comparing him against the best player who's ever played the game could be, disingenuous in a little bit. But we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, who is a top 5 quarterback of all time and who is doing the same thing. Like you pointed out, Mike, he's going to another team. He's got a great arsenal of weapons around him, especially now with Devontae Adams. This is a team that's picked to go to the AFC Championship game by some people and picked by a lot to win this division. And they're 2-5. Like, yeah, we are going to hold Rodgers to that standard because that's what we were expecting. Rodgers has given us a career good enough to expect that. And he usually just goes to the NFC Championship game and loses. He loves waiting to get to the playoffs to lose. But there's something about this Jets thing because now they're 2-5. And you look at the offensive numbers just across the board. It's not good. By the way, last time when we talked about them in week 3, they were a terrible run defense. They have kind of put that together. But the other things they have not. Points per game, they're 24th. Yards per game, 23rd. This is Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Red zone, they're a little bit better at 17th. 21st in touchdowns per game. Rush play, this is where it gets really bad. Their running game. Their play, the percentage of how many times they run the ball, 30th. Yards per rush, 29th. Rushes per game, 32nd. There's only 32 teams in the league, by the way. Rush yards per game, 31st. Rushing touchdowns per game, 24th. Passing, okay. Their highest passing numbers are passes per game and pass play percentage, which is not, that doesn't say anything really. Completion percentage. Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, 26th in the league at that. 26th in the league. And it's not the offensive line's problem. Only 10th in the league in sack percentage. Whatever.
What I think
their value is just terrible. They lose the turnover battle all the time. Their run game stinks. They're one of the most penalized teams in the league. They're 29th in the league at penalties. And like it's the same Jets in a ton of ways. There's just no discipline. You fired the head coach earlier than anyone else in the season, and it still hasn't corrected itself. This Jets team is a mess. That doesn't mean they're not going to beat the Patriots in Foxborough on Sunday, but they're a mess, dude. And by the way, their pass defense is actually pretty darn good. So I don't expect a 300-yard game from Drake May. But if he does, boy, golly, look out. I will be insufferable. But this Jets team is a mess. And so are the Patriots. Don't get me wrong. But I have been pleasantly surprised at the dip of the Jets because I thought they were the team to win the division coming into this year. And especially when Tua got hurt, I was like, okay, it's Jets division, man. They've got the pieces. Buffalo lost too many of their weapons. They had some injuries on defense. My guy, Terrell Bernard, was out for a couple of weeks. And nope, it's still Buffalo's division. It's not nearly the best division in football like we thought it was going to be. In fact, it's one of the worst with the Jets at 2-5 and the Dolphins still trying to figure it out and bringing Tua back. But down at the bottom of that is the Patriots. And we've been killing them the last couple of weeks. Ownership, coaching staff, the attitude of these players. And that has not been going on big time around the Patriots beat. In fact, it's been pretty radio silent for most of these beat guys. In fact, the one time someone kind of went out on the edge on something that was probably true was Evan Lazar a few weeks ago saying there's a mutiny in this locker room because they're not playing Drake May. And like, I believed that from the beginning. And the only time that something like that came out, the Patriots scrubbed it right away, made him go on 98.5 and apologize for it. And it's like, it was one thing when the Patriots were in the dynasty era and Felger was just looking for any reason to bring them down. It got old. It got annoying. Felger and Ben Volen and Greg Bedard and the guy who likes the Raiders there, who got duped a couple of times, Borges. Like, you heard that and it was just like tiring. But now it's like, seriously, can we not kind of call out some of these guys on their bullshit? Can we not question the ownership? Can we not question the head coach? Can we not question the shield here? And that's where Paul Perillo comes in. And Perillo, on a Patriots show, by the way, he works for the Patriots, makes a great point.
They should be pounding him.
Yeah.
If this was New York, it would be way worse.
Yeah.
But there's too many here that just want to be covering the Patriots and put that on their resume.
Well, that's true, but
put it on there. To your point, that's how they're getting clicks.
Yeah.
They're on Twitter telling everybody, I cover the Patriots. See my avatar?
No.
With me talking to Tom Brady? Like, that's the identity for half of these people.
It's a good point. It's a good point by Perillo, man. Like, there are too many people that just like having that picture of them with Brady or them interviewing Belichick, and that's the extent of it. Like, why is nobody holding this team's feet to the fire? You know, I mean, he's right, dude. In other markets, especially with New York this year with the Jets and the way the Patriots have been in the past, or the Boston market has been in the past, like, these guys should be getting killed in the media. They should just be getting dragged through the coals, and they're not. It's like we're just okay with 1-6 because the rookie quarterback might be good. It's like, that's not what this town used to be in terms of a media landscape. There should be some criticism for this coach, for this owner, for this GM. And instead, we're just going to throw it all back on Belichick. And again, I bring up the point that Elliott Wolf went in and said, you know, we thought we got the best offensive lineman on the market. It was Mike Onwenu. It's not true, and it's a Belichick guy. You re-signed Jennings. You re-signed Uche. You re-signed Peppers. You re-signed Duggar. These are all guys drafted by Belichick. So instead of holding these guys' feet to the fire, instead of criticizing this regime, we throw it all back on the old regime, and look how bad it was. Look how bare the cupboard was that they left us. And it's like, well, you kept those spices in the cupboard, man. You kept them here. Your wife was about to throw them out, and you said, no, keep them in there. And now it's like, but this broad my wife who went and did the groceries keeps all this old stuff in here. It's crap. I don't even want it. It's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing with this organization? I don't expect them to win on Sunday. It's possible, though, with how bad the Jets are. The Jets are 2-5 on the year. I want to go back to this. They're 2-5 on the year. You know who their 2 wins are against? I think you have a good idea.
Oh, I do know one.
They've beaten the New England Patriots and the Tennessee Titans. There are 4 teams with a worse record than the Jets this year. They've beaten 2 of them. They're closer to 0-7 than they are to 4-3 or 5-2. They're closer to 0-7 than almost any team in the league that's not 0-7. Of which there are none, by the way. It's really not a good situation. They're the worst kicking team in the league. And they went out and got an all-pro receiver. Worst kicking team in the league, Mike. Yeah. Just not even close.
That's a weird
62% of field goal percentage.
That's a weird stat.
That's bad.
We're the worst kicking
because
team
it should be such an easy thing to kind of correct. And I've seen some bad Patriots kicking the last few years. Chad Ryland would like a word. But there's always one of those guys out there. In fact, former Jet that the Patriots have for years, Nick Folk. They just kind of signed him off the street one day, and he gave him like 4 years of pretty good kicking. You know, you could find those vets. Who
does he kick for now?
Does he kick for Tennessee?
Yeah.
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 How's he been doing this year? I know you don't watch anymore.
I don't give a shit.
He was just like solid. Not over 45 yards. And so that limits what you could do a little bit offensively, but so did the rest of your team. So, you know what I mean? It was like, he's automatic from inside 40. Yeah.
Our team just had a fire
Patriots,
sale.
but
I mean, we gave away everybody, so it's fine. Yeah, whatever.
it's all good. The Jets might be next in that. And
I still think you're a better organization.
I don't know.
And so, no. I think the organization.
All right, it comes down to what is worse: firing Mike Vrabel or not even interviewing Mike Vrabel for your head coaching vacancy.
You don't want him. I can tell you that.
I'd prefer him over Mayo.
No, I don't think so.
Day one.
He's a great. He's
won in the league before.
Wonderful defensive coordinator or something like that. Line coach, something. Not a head guy.
He got a team to what, a number 2 seed?
We were number 1 seed.
1 seed.
Number 1 seed. Yeah, and then we blew it just like always.
Well, for sure.
Yeah. Against the Ravens, just like always.
Like,
I mean, that's the way it works.
The Ravens.
Whatever.
Ravens might be the best team in the AFC, not named Kansas City. We thought it was going to be the Jets. We thought it might be the Dolphins.
That's what I was saying. Kansas City just got our all-star wide receiver.
Yeah.
And so how does that happen, by the way?
Dude, Mosley asked the same question. The Patriots used to do this.
It's like a 6-team trade in the NBA that lands Klay Thompson in Dallas. 6 teams.
That was wild.
That's collusion. I mean,
that's now with the second apron getting nuts.
Yeah, that's insane.
I do want to talk about basketball a little bit. I want to talk Celtics. I do have to bring up some Bruins because it's just getting bad. And I'm like wearing a jersey today in order to just hopefully will this thing to being good, but I don't think it's going to be good this year. But the Jets, man, this would be hilarious if the bottom really falls out of this thing, if they win like 5 games. I still think there's a chance to turn this around. It's still a huge stretch for them to be a playoff team at this point, though, at 2-5.
You play Sunday or you play Monday?
Sunday.
Sunday? What's the spread?
Oh, I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a gambling man.
What do you think? I would say it's probably like 4.5, 5.
Yeah, but I'll bet they're
that.
giving the Jets about 4.5 on the road.
I have not looked.
Let's see.
Plus, I don't bet because I'm terrible at it.
Well, giving the Jets 2.5.
2.5.
2.5.
Oh, maybe they came to their senses then.
Oh no, this says 3. No, it opened to 3.5. Now it's 2.5.
So it went down.
Yeah.
That's because Aaron Rodgers loves that mushroom.
And they heard the Kelsey Grammer apology.
That's right. They were like, it really warms our cockles.
Yeah, that's going to get the Boston team ready when Cheers is in the news.
Nothing the mob loves more than a good Kelsey Grammer Ted Danson makeup story.
Let's talk Celtics and how privileged we are to watch them and also kind of how bad the Bruins are. That's coming up next on the Cam Show. Yeah, Mike, it is a lot different. Like since I got into TV and radio, now like I understand time better, like how long things are going to take. So like when you say 20 seconds, it used to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But now it's like, no, I can get this done. I know what I can get done in 20 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my girlfriend knows what I can get done in 20 seconds.
Damn it. Wrong one.
No, that was good. This is the Cam Show. It's Rogue Media Sports Network. We got the winter sports teams to go over. And boy, what a dichotomy, man. What a dichotomy. Because last night I am watching on on two screens. I've got the Celtics. I've got the Bruins.
Two screens.
Now, to be fair, I know. Now, to be fair, the Celtics are playing one of the worst teams in the league. They're playing Washington, which might be the worst team in the league this year. And the Bruins are facing one of the best teams in the league. The team I think is one of the two or three favorites to win the Stanley Cup, which is the Dallas Stars, unfortunately. And you just couldn't ask for two more different things. Celtics blow out Washington, win by 20 once again. And the Bruins, they get pretty embarrassed on their home ice after coming back from a road trip that really, really sucked. But the Celtics, I talked about this with Pete yesterday. The Celtics, to me, are getting to like can't miss TV kind of stuff. And I had this with the Patriots with Brady. It's like, it's the only time I'm grateful for things in my life because I'm like, I got to watch the Celtics whenever I can. That's why I got League Pass. I'm not doing this thing anymore where I only watch the national TV games because they're so good. It feels like such a special team, special event when the Celtics are playing that it's like an honor to watch. The Bruins have not been that. I have to watch every Bruins game anyway because I just have to. It's me. It's who I am. But they come back from this bad road trip. The Bruins do. The Bruins come back from this terrible road trip out west with Utah and Colorado and Nashville, which comes back east a little bit. And it was bad. They go 1-2 on the trip. Their last two games were really, really brutal. They get shut out 4-0 by a team that had not won a game in Nashville. And Jim Montgomery is out there undressing his captain on the bench. Not what it sounds like, Mike. He's yelling at his captain on the bench. And he got some heat for that. I don't think he deserved to get heat for that. I mean, I don't mind Jim Montgomery calling out his captain when there's efforts like that out there on the ice. And we talked with Matt Barry yesterday of the Bruins Benders podcast of like, this looks like a guy who's coaching for his job. And he is, man. He's in the last year of his contract. He has obviously this gaudy winning percentage in the regular season, but the team has regressed under him. They had the greatest regular season in history in his first year. They lost in the first round. Then they won a playoff series last year, kind of amazingly, and lost to the Panthers again. And right now, they barely look like a playoff team with this roster and this forward group. Like, they're really going to have to battle to get into the playoffs. And I don't know that they'll be a home ice team the way they have been in the past. And you have that first round matchup with Toronto. How much can the mental game win it for you at this point? You really shouldn't have won the series last year. And now Toronto's a better team. And we're going to see him tomorrow night at I think it's in Boston, hockey night in Canada, all that. It's going to be a big deal like it always is, Saturday night hockey between these two teams. And it's a chance for Toronto to really kind of prove something early in the season because they think they're a better team than the Bruins, but it's that mental hurdle. On the flip side, if the Bruins can go out and beat Toronto like 4-1 tomorrow night, that should get the ball rolling on some things. But right now, they just do not look like a playoff team, and at times they barely look like an NHL team. Their forward talent barely looks like NHL. And again, we saw the line mixing up. I mean, I keep seeing that line of Coyle, Max Jones, Trent Frederick, and I'm like, what is that going to give you? How is that a tough line to play against when they can't generate anything on offense or anything 5-on-5? You have guys that cannot carry the puck into the zone. And I'm sitting there having a freaking ulcer last night because I see Justin Brazeau is on the power play for this team. Justin Brazeau really isn't even an NHL player. And he's out there on the power play for a team that a year and a half ago set the all-time single seasons wins record. And here's where we're at now, not all that long ago. Of course, Brazeau made me look stupid. He scored a power play goal. But the point remains that is not where the Bruins need to be from a personnel standpoint. And later on in the game, they pull the goalie down 2 goals with 3 minutes left, and they've got Parker Wotherspoon out there on a 6-on-5 situation. I'm like, seriously, that's the best we've got? When we are trailing 2 goals, we're chasing a couple of goals, we've pulled the goalie, and Parker Wotherspoon is one of the guys out there on the ice? Oh, man, that's not good. And part of it is you have to pull the goalie with 4 minutes left. So, I mean, how long can you keep your guys out there? But, yeah, and they were one of the best penalty-killing units in the league the last couple of years. That has not been that sharp, and it doesn't help that they take a ton of penalties, a ton. Marchand took 2 last night. Pastrnak took 2 last night. And Dallas scored 3 power play goals. 3 of 5 on the power play. You're facing one of the best teams in the league. You can't keep giving them that many chances. And it's stupid penalties, too. I mean, how many penalties did they get in the offensive zone this year? And I think it is time we talk about Brad Marchand. I'm wearing the Marchand jersey just for something, some kind of good luck.
Can you stand up? Because people can't see that jersey. Just stand up for a second. I was very impressed by that jersey. Like, I know it's a common thing for you, but that is a beautiful jersey. I'm just saying.
When this jersey came out, I had to have it, Mike.
I can see that.
So it was a Bruins alternate for like 8 years, but the original was gold with the black thing here.
Yeah, I got you.
And it was like lost media for years. The Bruins wanted to ignore it so bad. They thought it was a terrible logo. The Pooh Bear logo is what they call it.
It's not a Pooh Bear. That's a Bruin.
And no Spoked Bee at all on it. And they ignored it like the plague for years, man. And the NHL started doing this reverse retro thing where you kind of take a retro look of the team, but you switch it up a little bit. So it's not a straight up retro jersey. So instead of doing gold, they did white.
So it's like the Bruins when you showed either earlier in the week or last week, right? The new jersey that they redid.
The Centennial jersey.
Oh, that's a Centennial jersey. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I get lost in jersey talk.
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot now with the NHL, which I love because I love hockey jerseys. But when this came out, I said, I don't care the price. I've got to have it. And I was really angry because it does not have the alternate captain's A on it, which it should for Brad Marchand at that year. Now he's, of course, the captain. And I think it is time we talk about Brad Marchand a little bit. The guy is 36 years old, and he has 6 goals in his last, 40 games or something? I've got the stat here. As you can tell, as you can really tell, I'll give the credit to the guy who put it out there.
I don't know anything about hockey, but I'm thinking 6 and 40 is probably not great.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not, Mike, as a matter of fact. But where is this? Where is this
hard
tweet
to find
I found?
Is his goals over 40
games. Oh, my gosh.
games.
I thought I bookmarked it. I must have only liked it.
Oh.
Or
Can we talk about
it was deleted. I don't know.
Can we talk about the Bears' pupils, though?
Why?
They're just white.
Okay. Van Allen is the guy who put it out. Including playoffs, he has 6 goals in his last 44 games.
Yeesh.
He's 36 years old, and he has 6 goals in his last 44 games. 2 of those came in that game 3 against Toronto, where he scored the snipe that put them back up, and then he scored the empty netter. And that's a third of the goals right there in one of the games. And he scored again the next night, by the way. So what is he giving you? He's turning the puck over. That's leading to goals. That's what got him chewed out by his coach, Jim Montgomery. Montgomery's out there blasting him for turning the puck over. He's taking penalties, took 2 more penalties against Dallas on Thursday, and he's not giving you anything offensively. He's not giving you anything on the power play. He's dealing with a ton of injuries. He had 3 surgeries in the offseason. He's 36. Like, when is that going to be turned around? Are you just banking on Brad Marchand to just wake up one day in the middle of the season and become a 30-goal guy again? I don't think that's happening. In fact, that might not happen the rest of his career. And, that's understandable. The guy's 36. And I will say, I have a ton of respect for Brad Marchand's career because he went from just kind of a hustle guy, second, third line, penalty killer, gritty fan favorite to being a real, legit, skilled 30, 40 goal guy and a legitimate source for your offense. And he really turned his career around doing that. But it might just be time. He's 36. And the numbers have not been kind to him the last few years. He's 5'9", at about 180 pounds and dealing with all these injuries, it's like he can't play the same way anymore. In fact, you look at just the points the last couple of years, and to see where he's at, he was only at 27 points. Excuse me, that was plus minus. 67 points the last 2 years, which is still good. Like, don't get me wrong, but he's going down from 80, 87, 100, 85. Like, that's what he was. In the middle of his career, he was an 80-plus point a year guy. And now it's all going down big time. And his penalty minutes have gone down, which some people don't like. I think I'm okay with that. He has not scored a goal this year. He's got 4 assists. He's -4. He's already taken 12 minutes worth of penalties in those games, and he's given the puck away 6 times. That's just what we've recorded in 8 games. 6 giveaways, 12 penalty minutes. He's a guy who is not affecting the game in any way this year for the Bruins. And it really stinks because, again, I don't think it's the lack of trying. I think he's a guy who is 36, coming off 3 surgeries, and he's expected to be the second best player on the team. And he's not that, or the second best forward anyway. He's not that. And Pastrnak is, again, committing lazy penalties. This team, it's bad enough that most of their forwards just stink and are not NHL level, but then the guys that you're really counting on are giving you absolutely nothing. And I thought Andy Brickley made a really good point the other night in the few times that he's allowed to criticize the Bruins on the Bruins broadcast. But he was talking about Morgan Geekie, and Geekie was a healthy scratch against Colorado, played against Utah, and didn't do anything. And Brickley in the third quarter, Brickley in the third period was like, what about this guy, these guys who are just coming off healthy scratches? The coach told him it's not your night. And those guys, when they come back, they should be one of the most effective players on the ice. They should be winning every battle. They should be throwing shots on net. They should be showing you a real effort. And he's like, I look up in the third period, and Morgan Geekie does not have a shot on goal tonight. And he was up watching on the 9th floor in the last game. Like, it's like you won't play the kids in Providence because you don't think they're good enough, or you don't want to unseat a veteran. But the veterans aren't giving you great effort here, and they're giving you no production. And this team, after to go off that same point that Brickley made, this team is coming off 2 bad losses on the road. You come back home, you're facing one of the best teams in the league. You should be up for it, home crowd, and it was the same crap. It was lazy play. It was not clearing the zone. It was taking stupid penalties and letting them convert on the power play. And by the way, Swayman has not been that great either. He's not been at the top of the list of what's wrong with this team, but he has not been great. That first goal, that Duchesne goal, he had no idea where the puck was. Duchesne beats him from the dot short side because Swayman does not know where the puck is. And he's just tracking that pass over to Duchesne as Duchesne is throwing it into the net. So it's just a bad deal right now. And we could be on borrowed time for Jim Montgomery. And I don't think it's necessarily all his fault, but I've never loved his strategy. I was willing to look the other way when they were setting the all-time wins record, but I never loved his strategy. And Dafumi, my guy Dafumi on Twitter, points out that Pat Burns was 3-4-1 when he got fired on October 25th in the year 2000. The Bruins are 3-4-1 on October 25th. Just saying. He's saying, not saying he deserves it, but they have to decide one way or the other soon, or it's not going to matter. Patrice Bergeron, once again, gave the echo that we heard a couple weeks ago. American Thanksgiving, that's where you see where your team's at. And realistically, it's like, if you're not in a playoff spot by that point, you're probably not going to the playoffs. That's just what the NHL has shown the last 10, 12 years. And they got to worry about that. That's a month away here. And they're not looking like a playoff team at all. But yeah, I mean, part of this comes on your GM too. We talked about this with Matt Barry yesterday. You're talking about the last couple of years, Tyler Bertuzzi, Jake DeBrusk, Foligno, like these guys who can play up and down the lineup, specifically at winger, and can give you something, can give you 20, 25 goals, can give you actual offensive output. You can play him on a power play. Taylor Hall, Tyler Bertuzzi. You look at those guys, Jake DeBrusk, and you didn't replace any of them. You want to let him walk because it's shrewd business? Go ahead, let him walk. But to have no replacement at all, that shows bad mismanagement in the front office. And it's not just one example. And Sweeney's probably done more good than bad, but he has not handled free agency well over his time with the Bruins. And he's went out and put his balls out on the table to get some of these guys at the trade deadline for first-round picks, then lets them walk and can't get anything in return. So now you've got guys for half seasons. Okay, I'm okay with that, Dom. We want to make a push for this thing. Let's do it. You go out, you get these guys for half the season, you peace out in the second round, and then you let them walk and get nothing in return. So basically you've given up first-round picks for nothing, for second-round exits. And now, no wonder you have nobody from Providence that you can put up and put on the second or third line because you've given up all these first-round picks. And you got nothing in return because you let these guys walk. And you mismanage the cap with other guys, so then you have to let them walk in the case of a guy like Taylor Hall. That's the problem with the Bruins right now, and it might end up being the coach's job. And think of what you will about that. It's going to come down on the coach, and it's going to come down on the captain, and they don't have clean hands here either. But you got to look at that front office first and foremost. And we got to look at one more segment, Mike. I want to talk something a little bit about the Washington Wizards. It's going to be on the grander scale, so it's not going to be a Wizards breakdown, but I want to get your opinion on something Washington Wizards, which is going to keep the people here on YouTube watching.
Oh, they love it.
That's next on the Camp Show. Show, Stroke Media Sports Network. Mike Hamilton, hello, is there. I'm here too, Cam Stewart. Mike, I've teased you with that Washington Wizards thing.
No, on edge.
Because I thought last night, so we were actually on the Mosley show, and the producer there, Aaron, called them the Washington Bullets, the way they used to be called. Baltimore Bullets, Washington Bullets, then the Wizards. And I thought, is the Washington Wizards the worst team name / branding in all of sports?
It could be.
Because, does anyone want that name? And, none of their logos have a wizard on it.
Yeah.
So clearly they don't even want that name.
No, they should be called the Washington District or something like that, because but you know what I'm saying? I mean, lean into whatever your red, white, and blue stuff is.
That's what's wild is like Washington teams they have so many options with logos and team names for something patriotic, and really none of them have gotten it right.
Yeah.
Like the Capitals, okay, fine name, Caps, okay, but their logo has always sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Always sucked.
What's baseball? Senators?
The Nationals.
Nationals, same thing.
And it's just the Walgreens W.
Yeah.
Like you've not hit it right.
They give you this giant receipt at the end of the game.
Yeah.
This is big. All the coupons on it.
It's very, very topical.
Thank you very much.
Very topical. You guys ever been
it's really CVS, but
Walgreens, CVS.
Yeah, pull it over. It's fine.
What does CVS even stand for? Oh. And so I thought, like, that's got to be the worst. Like, it clearly came around when, like, the Harry Potter books were big. And so it was like, alliterative. And I think it was like late 90s when they did that. So it's like, oh, well, it's alliterative and wizards are kind of cool, right? And it wasn't. It wasn't cool at all. They went back to their original colors like 10, 12 years ago. And it still stinks. Like their logo stinks. They have no good players in their history of the Wizards.
I completely forgot about their other colors.
Yeah. Blue.
Yeah, it was and wasn't it teal or something in there also?
And like they had that gold and black jersey that Gilbert Arenas wore. No. It's a terrible franchise.
Well,
right?
I told you I saw Jordan play for the Wizards in San Antonio at the old Hemisphere Arena. And it was maybe one of the worst games I've ever been to. I mean, even with Jordan on the floor, they were terrible.
And by the way, last night I'm watching that game. It's their opening night. Their opening night in Washington, and they're facing the Boston Celtics, the reigning NBA champions and probably the most popular team in all of basketball. And I mean, thousands of empty seats in there.
Adam Silver must hate them.
Like they suck. I mean, Washington, D.C. is not a good sports town.
Yeah.
It's a wasteland of a sports town, truly. You've got too many people from other places.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
And
very transient.
And like, that's why the Capitals are like holding on to dear life for this Alex Ovechkin goals record. Like they are like, please, we will wheel him out there if we have to. To go and break Gretzky's record, we'll just wheel him out there when the other team has an empty net.
Oh yeah.
And like we'll keep him at the red line. Like
that makes sense.
That's because that's what they have. That's all they've ever had. So I found this list. Stephen Provost, don't know who that is, but he's got a WordPress website of the worst team names in professional sports. So I'm like, hell yeah, man. I'm
okay. So these are, just to preface this, these are the worst team names in sports history,
according to this guy.
Okay,
I think it's current actually.
All right.
This is top 20. So before I get to this, because I love talking about bad branding, bad sports names.
Sure.
I personally love unique ones and ones that are like specially towards that place.
Yeah.
So like, what's a Hoosier? I don't know, but Indiana's the Hoosier state. So I like that I use the Hoosiers.
Buckeyes.
Yes. Yes. And no one else has that.
Even Pelicans. Honestly, I hated it at first, but it's
points for
kind of genius.
And points for regionality.
Yeah.
The Boston Celtics.
Yeah. I don't know
what
I
love
means,
the Red Sox, but I don't know what that has to do with Boston.
Well, it was a time, I'm sure, at a time.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. But like say that
you're okay with that.
I'm okay with it. I'll allow it. Good. So I say that because the first one he puts is the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really cool name. The Cheese Packers, Cheese, Wisconsin. I think that's awesome.
Cheese Packers?
Yes.
Okay.
The Acme Packers.
Okay.
Anaheim Ducks.
I get that. You lean into the movie. Yeah, I get it.
Denver Nuggets.
Okay. That makes sense. Gold Rush.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mind it.
Yeah. You do mind it?
No, I don't mind.
Yeah,
the LA Clippers.
Yeah, that one's. By the way,
it's just terrible logo, terrible branding.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Last night, I saw fully with my own two eyes their new logo, and that is garbage.
It's awful.
Number one, it looks like a sniper's rifle, and then number two, I couldn't tell what the hell was in the middle of it. Oh, it's a ship.
And just like terrible identity. This is what I'll put them on the same plane as the Wizards in this sense of like if you're going to be second fiddle like the Clippers are, don't do red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
It's like the White Sox wearing pinstripes. I'm like, dude, you're never going to be the Yankees.
Yeah.
Just do something else.
It's pandering.
And
it's pandering.
Just wear, I don't know, green and gold. The way you know, it'll stick out at least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Bruins have great colors. I've
Bruins
always
are great,
loved.
yeah.
I've always loved gold and black.
And they've always had a great logo.
I'm not crazy about the Steelers, but they have some of the best looking uniforms. I mean, that's just all there is to it.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
16, Oakland A's.
Okay. What are the A's? I don't know what
Athletics.
that is.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been there a couple
no, I
times.
knew it was
One of those
athletics, but I didn't
120
know
years
what.
old.
Yeah.
They do a soccer team on here, which I don't like. Columbus Crew. I don't know.
Crew.
I'm not even giving it the time.
Yeah.
Houston Texans.
Yeah, Texans is not a wonderful name.
Boring.
Yeah.
And
it is fairly
I mean,
boring.
boring logo, boring
Yeah.
uniforms. Like,
I got to tell you, they did not step it up with that new H.
no.
Woo.
No, not at all.
That looks like some kid doodling in the middle of history class.
13, Buffalo Bills.
I
like the Buffalo Bills.
I like
name.
that. And their use of red, white, and blue does not offend me as much as some of the others.
They do it really well.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
The team is named after Buffalo Bill Cody, the guy with the Wild West show, but there was only one of them.
Lambs, right?
So pluralizing the name doesn't make much sense. When you speak about Bills in plural, you're generally talking about currency, not Wild West showmen. Or is every player on this team named Bill? Like, all right, you're thinking about this too much.
Yeah, but then you got to get
thinking about this too much.
At
least the current logo shows the bison leaping through the air, unlike
True.
the original version, which looked like a satanic cow with a beard and a penis.
I kind of like the original one. It's just standing there. I like that old, like Patriots. Honestly, they should go back to their original uniforms.
Bulls have penises.
Now that they've made that change, go back to your original. See what happens.
I don't like when teams go backwards in terms of branding, but I would take the Patriots red.
Well, keep your silver helmets and put the guy back on or something.
I would take those any day of the week.
Yeah.
Or the 90s ones, which I love that not everyone
Because
does.
at this point, you're just kind of sullying that brand that was so powerful forever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So change it. Change
That's why I'm like, when Brady leaves the
over.
team, do something else.
Start over. Yeah.
12, Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about that one.
Which I think is probably the worst in the NHL, in my opinion.
Wild.
WNBA team. I'm not doing that.
They have some bad names.
Chicago Sky. Is
Sky.
Cleveland Browns, number 10.
Yeah, I have talked about this one with my wife and my friends before.
Grace cannot understand it.
It's the family.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
it's
the guy who
after the
founded
family.
the team.
But what blows their minds is when I tell them about Brownie, the little mascot that they had for a while.
Thing?
The little elf. Yeah.
I'm
like, I have no clue where their name actually came from because they got Brownie the elf. They got the Brown family. They're an imposter team anyway because they're not the original.
Team. Correct.
Yeah.
Number 9, LA Lakers.
Yeah. No,
it's just not. It's not in Minnesota. Yeah. It's not in Minnesota. There's no lakes.
Plus, I hate them. So
number 8.
Yeah.
The Boston Celtics.
Really? What's wrong?
Let's read it. Let's read it. The NBA's most successful team was actually named after an earlier team from New York called, not surprisingly, the original Celtics. In Celtic languages, the word is pronounced Celtic with a hard K, but the team and its fans insist on pronouncing the C like an S. The Scottish Celtic Football Club, which was founded in the late 19th century, pronounces it the same way. But at least in that case, Celtic is used as an adjective describing someone else, the dreaded FC.
I love how he thinks.
Basketball team, by contrast, is not.
I love how he thinks he's going to tell people in Boston that they're pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, it's like stupid. It's like I had someone ask me once, why do they call the Patriots, why is the Patriots nickname the Pats and not the Pates?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's just silly.
That's really stupid.
P-A-T-S.
Yeah.
You know, like that just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And like it's been the Celtics for 75 years.
Can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah.
Are the Knicks on there anywhere?
Let's see. Maybe.
Because, you know, when you run into people that are non-sports fans and you explain to them what the New York Knickerbockers really are.
Tough one to say.
That is a tough one.
Tough one.
I said it. I got through it. It's just pants, man.
Yes.
Why are they not just the New York pants?
That would be kind of sick.
Yeah.
They have like some sort of city edition where they're just the pants.
Well, they have these guys come out in giant pants, you know, and just kind of storm around on the field. That'd be great.
Number 7 is an MLS team. Number 6 is
weird
WNBA
because
team.
they're
Number
basketball
5 is an MLS team.
Yeah.
Number 4, the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, that sucks.
Dumb.
Sucks.
No Jazz in Utah.
The
Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah. I don't mind Angels. Honestly, I don't mind Angels at all.
And he's just saying that it's like redundant because Los Angeles means the Angels, but like we're speaking English, like break. So
that's stupid.
I'm okay with that. What you do want to point out is that they're like the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. That's stupid.
Yes,
but the name the Angels is fine.
Yes.
Number 2, this is an old one. The Cleveland Indians. This guy's a real progressive here.
I always like the name.
Calling yourself the Indians is like calling yourself the Bolivians or the Laotians.
So call them
or
that.
the Namibians. Except that's not a reference to India, which makes it just plain stupid. Not to mention insulting. Yeah, I'll bet this is a real Native American here. And then number 1, Washington football team.
Nowhere in there are the Titans, huh?
No,
because that's an awful name also.
It's all it's just it's like the Wizards. Alliteration for the sake of alliteration.
It makes no sense. Yeah.
What's your least favorite? Off the top of your head.
My least favorite name of a team of all time.
Yeah.
I'll
give it to you all time.
Shit, it's the Jazz. It's got to be the Jazz. The Jazz is the one I gripe about all the time. Yeah. It makes no damn sense.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid.
And pick a color scheme, by the way, Utah. Good God.
It's a good point.
We're black. Nope. We're purple. Nope. We're yellow. Nope. We're silver.
They went back to that. Remember they went back to like the purple and gold, like right as they started sucking like the late 2000s.
Yeah.
And they did that like hideous, like green seats in the arena.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just awful.
Yeah, it's awful. And then you got to watch.
Now it's like neon.
And then you got to watch all the white people in the audience. Yeah. And that's all there is. Just white people sitting in ugly seats.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying keep the same uniforms all the time, but they should have at least kept the identity of like that 90s. Like there was no reason to go.
You know what uniforms kick ass? Recently are the ones in Phoenix with the sundown look.
I like that.
I always thought those were cool.
Yeah. It's got like the purple streak, but it's sun's written in white against a white jersey.
And honestly, Utah, I saw them play in preseason. They were wearing just this black and white thing that just said Utah across it. It looks pretty kick ass, honestly.
Coming from a Spurs fan.
Yes.
Like black, white, silver. Yeah, okay, yes. I do like the Spurs. I don't mind a team doing that.
Black, the original jerseys are, I mean, they're my favorite, but I mean, it's my team.
At the one with the black letters on the black jersey.
Yeah, I like that too.
Okay, they brought that back out for the 50th anniversary.
I just want straight up. I like what my
San Antonio.
My favorite thing is when you take the old Fiesta color logo and you fade it into the new just silver and black logo. I think that's cool because it pays homage to the old and the new, and it's the same logo.
Domo arigato, Mr. Spurs.
You got it.
Anyway, that's going to do it for the weekend. Patriots going to probably lose to the Jets, but I will still laugh at how bad the Jets are the rest of the season. We'll talk about it Monday, high noon Eastern time, 11 a.m. Central time, right here on the Cam Show, YouTube, and then afterwards, wherever you find your podcast. We'll see you then.
Pats by 1.